What is up, space chickens of planet Earth? Or as far as I know anyway, YouTube is confined to Earth. But I don't know why aliens wouldn't be able to get the internet up in spaceships. So maybe it goes further than that. But anyway, it's your friend the AlienPhotog, and I'm back and making a video of which I have put a lot of thought into. And this is going to be interesting for me. I'm really curious to see what the reaction to this is going to be. And I really don't know because it seems like such a preposterous claim to make, but as someone who is a quote-unquote abductee, and that's a word I dislike and I think really puts a negative connotation on a lot of this, and it causes a lot of problems. So contactee I think is better. In reality, most of us are hybrids. But the problem is that when you throw that out, you tend to lose a lot of people in the beginning. Just being honest with you guys. And it's my intent to talk to as many people as possible. That's really my only prerogative here. It truly is. I'm just trying to spread information. Past that, I have no agenda. And what you do with the information is entirely up to you. But as someone who's experienced a lot with beings from other places, and who has spent a lot of time looking into his personal experiences, and I'm very, very curious by nature. That's just a part of me. I'm also the sort of person who throws his heart into everything he does. I'm very passionate about everything, which has made for an interesting life so far. But point being, I'm here to back up a claim that I've made a while ago, that quite a few famous musicians are quote-unquote alien abductees, which is a very primitive way of seeing what's actually going on here. Again, I prefer the word contactees. In reality, pretty much everybody who's quote-unquote contacted or abducted is a hybrid. That's how they track you down. You're chipped and then you go into the womb. And it sounds unbelievable, I know. Believe me, there was certainly a point in my life where I wouldn't have believed this for a second. That said, I can logically explain a lot of this stuff. All of us hybrids have kind of a job to do here on Earth, and that job sort of adapts to our personality. That's why we're down here, is because it's our job to help sort of clean up things. And there's a lot of us, and a lot of us are going through this quote-unquote awakening process right now. And early on in my awakening process, this is something that I noticed. I've always loved music. I've always loved music. And the thing about music is, most people don't consider this. It really is not a human type invention or creation, I guess would be the word. Think about how it moves you. Literally makes you move. Think about how it penetrates your soul. Everybody's experienced that, I think. Hybrids especially, I think, have a special connection to it. And like I said, there are way more out there than you would think. This population boom we've had in the last 100 years has a whole lot more to do with a hybrid program than most people would think. And our population is not 7 billion like reported. It's 4.5 billion. I always think it's funny when somebody gives a number on how many there are. And the 4.5 billion number I got, it was, from my friends from above. And they were just sort of putting a ballpark estimate on it too. But think about like when people go to a huge gathering or something. Some people will say there are 50,000. Others will claim 2 million. I mean, it's very, very difficult and can be done by measuring the space that the people filled and all that crap. But point being, music isn't human. It comes through humans. So what I'm going to do here, and this is just the beginning, I've found so much music that seems to speak of this directly. And something I'm not certain of is whether or not the artists who do it are aware of what they're saying. I had an interesting experience where I met an artist a couple months ago, and this particular artist was putting things in amazing paintings. And it was more on the occult side. And I don't like to go into that side because of some bloodline issues that I have. They tend to stick around if they're in your family past, and so I don't really talk about it much. But just incredible Freemasonic designs in the artwork, and when I showed this artist what she was painting, she had no clue. So I don't know if the artists themselves know they're doing this, but I believe most of them probably do. I'm really curious to see if I've been hearing from a bunch of musicians lately, and one that apparently was relatively well known, and that's been interesting. And that particular one didn't seem to get what I was getting at, but yet was very, very in tune and very intelligent, and had been paying attention to this for a long, long time, and actually had some good advice for me. That said, when I asked this particular person about what I'm going to speak about here, it didn't even register. It was very bizarre to me. So I'm curious to know, and if by chance anybody who's been doing this for a long time, on any sort of level, preferably singing, happens to hear this, feel free to get a hold of me. because I'd really like to pick your brain a little bit, and I think it'd be an interesting conversation on all sides. So, and of course, I'm not gonna say any names. But yeah, because of that, I'm a little bit torn about doing this, but I've decided it's the right thing to do. And my reason for doing it is, number one, people who don't experience this, and if you're listening to this video, you've probably had some questionable experiences in your life, is what I've found. But people who don't believe this exists, which is just ridiculous, they're not going to believe a thing I have to say about this anyway. So I'm not really too worried about that, and the reason I'm saying it is, what I've found is there are a lot of us awakening right now, and it's a difficult process and a very confusing process. So I'm going to point this out so these people can have some solace that they're not alone, because we've all felt alone. And my God, I've found out yeah, that's the word. I mean, you hear my reaction at how many emails I've gotten, and these amazing, long, beautiful emails people write me saying, I've never told anybody this before, but they're telling me. And I can help them tie some loose ends together usually, and I like doing that. But you're not the only one in this awakening process, and we're not all weird. We're in fact very intelligent, and I hate to put this label on it because I'm as far from a superficial person as you'll ever meet, but relatively good looking, very emotionally sensitive beings, people, hybrids is what we are. And we're not the only ones. It's not as weird as it sounds. It's just been made to sound that way to make us feel weird, I think, and sort of keep us back. But this awakening process brings that out and sort of changes things that in a way can never go back. And a lot of you can relate to what I'm saying right now. And it feels good to know that. That helps me a lot. So that's kind of what I want to give to everybody is you're not alone. All right, so let's do this. Now, I've asked for explanation from the beings above on this, and the basic dynamics are the lyrics are able to be kept subliminal by the rest of the music somehow. And the lyrics, when you break them down to just the words, which apparently somehow I'm able to reach people through just words, whereas many have to sing, I guess, which is interesting to me. I'm curious to see what's going to happen when I read somebody else's words that are relatively well known in other ways. I'm just very curious to see what the reaction to this will be. And these are my favorite musicians. I don't listen to a lot of country, so I don't know honestly if it's in there or not. It doesn't sound like it's me. I really don't hear it much in country. In rap, it's there. I don't go into much rap because a lot of it does tie to that occult side that I talked about. Certainly break down Jay-Z's lyrics, and he's an in-tune, aware guy. I think we're working for different beings. And I hate the good versus evil label. Everybody thinks they're good, but there are certain groups of beings I just don't want to associate with. And a lot of you know what I'm talking about there too. So that's when you hear me not say much about that, that's why, because it tends to make them come back. I'm going to start with an interesting individual, and some of these people are going to surprise you. Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20 to me is one of the most obvious. Really is. And if you're interested in this, go break down the rest of the lyrics and see what you can find. And what we're looking for here, generally speaking, a lot of things what I find is missing time, references to outer space, references to angels in particular, everybody. Angels and aliens are essentially the same thing. Biblically speaking, as far as I know they are. I tend to stay away from the Bible, which is unfortunate, but I just feel it's been manipulated in ways, and I think half-truths are worse than complete lies sometimes. So I find I'm best kind of blazing my own trail here, but boy, I know there's a lot in there that could help me because it's accurate historically, and it's about this. I mean, the Bible openly speaks from what I've been told by people I trust that know very well about, giants and aliens and all this stuff. But angels equals aliens. Same thing. And really, if we look at the root word angel to alien, it really hasn't come that far. Some good, some bad. Yes, absolutely some bad. Fallen angels. I firmly believe in that. That would be the group of beings that I was referring to earlier, I feel. But the ones I am working with, although I identify them as the Greys, I don't know that for sure. They've never really... I mean, it'd be like, I'm a white guy. It'd be like me coming and introducing myself as, hello, I'm one of the whites. I mean, it just doesn't really happen that way. However, from what I've managed to record,